Hi, everyone. Thanks again for joining us for another episode of the Daily BizLink. Jane Cebrynski is back, and today we're talking about ROCKtober. And I'm sure you're curious, what the heck is ROCKtober? What does that even mean? So, Jane, I'll let you kind of fill everybody in as far as what ROCKtober really means.
Thank you, Lindsay. I appreciate that. Well, October is the 10th month of the year, and I coach people to live a 10 life. And you and I are always talking about those 10 moments. Oh, wait. So first we have to start with the 10 moment. We're not getting into October yet.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good place to start. The first thing that comes to mind, which I think will tie nicely into today's conversation, is finding opportunities to create those 10 moments or to make us feel even better about, what we're wearing or how we show up. So, I'm sure my lady friends out there have those moments where we're like, I just have no idea what to wear. I haven't been shopping in forever. So decided to throw on my fall favorite lipstick and then also a pair of my favorite earrings. And so that was my 10 moment of the morning.
Beautiful. And hopefully now you feel like a 10 as well. Well, okay, so back to Rocktober, because it is the 10th month. It happens to be my birthday month too, so I'm being a little selfish about it. But we're in a new season. We've transitioned into fall for, maybe we haven't in our weather per se, but technically we're in fall. And we've been in a tremendous season of change. But I thought, as we start to head into the fourth quarter, the end of the year, how can we just really make this month rock? And what that means for me is, how do I just make it a whole 10 months? So I thought I'd introduce to everybody our stat tool, because that's the fundamental of what we coach in. And then we'll talk a little bit more about how they can go out and practice it. And then I have a little challenge for everyone, which includes myself. But as you know, the benchmark of our coaching is in stats, because stats in sports are just facts. They're numbers that don't lie, whether it's, how many shots taken, how many points scored, how many games won or lost. And so we use the range of 1 to 10 to help train people to live a 10 life. 1 being low, 10 being high, obviously. And we say it's got to be at least an 8 to be great. Because oftentimes what happens is, when we begin to challenge ourselves to stat up our life, to ask ourselves the question like, what is a 10 moment for me? What is that feeling I want to anchor in? And then how can I get that to translate in every aspect of my life, professionally, personally, philanthropically, every single day? You've been working with this tool for a really, really long time.
It's a game changer for sure.
It is. It literally is a very simple tool that can dramatically change your life. And so I'm going to ask everybody to think about a 10 moment. And really, it's the feeling we're going after. So, for example, when this tool was first introduced to me, and a situation that came up for me as a 10 moment that I kind of anchored in was when I went over the edge for Special Olympics. I rappelled down I don't even remember how many stories that building is downtown, but it's one of the bank buildings. And so the feelings for me were, number one, I'm totally afraid of heights. So I was challenging myself to do something that, really scared me. But also I was going through some really difficult times in my life. And so it sort of served as a metaphor too of like resilience and how I could overcome some fears, and gave me a tremendous sense of accomplishment. There was euphoria. So it's really kind of anchoring in those feelings. And then how do we translate that every day into our lives?
I know I implement this one, every hour, almost every minute of my day. And so the example that I'll share with everyone, which you'll probably laugh, but there are things in our lives which are 10 moments for us across the board, but there's other elements that we can't control, but they tend to swoop in, and they kind of make those 10 moments seem a little less exciting or less enjoyable for us. So the example I'll share today, my 10 moment is, Jane and I were actually both speaking on the same panel later this evening for Ballet Arizona. That's a 10 moment for me. We're sharing with young leaders within our community, some best practices, total 10. However, I have that. Then right after that, I am hosting a birthday party for my fiance, also a 10 moment, but a lot of things going on at the exact same time. So reflecting, watching my film, seeing what's happened in the past to know how can I make sure that it's as fun and enjoyable for not only everybody else, but also for myself. And the one thing that I identified was my dog gets so anxious when all these people continue to show up and things are going on or getting ready for a party. Love her to death. And I mean, gosh, she's like by far my best friend. But that little fur baby, she went to the pet resort today and she's going on her little vacation for the next 24 hours. So that way I don't have to worry about that one the rest of the day. And we can all enjoy the presentation and then followed by the party.
And you're giving your dog a 10 moment. Like, this is what I'm talking about. How do we create 10 moments, not only in our lives, but for the people that we interact with, our loved ones? And so what I love about it is, you know, it really can be quite eye-opening. So usually when we're training people, the first thing we ask them to do is start to stat up their life. Begin to look around. And so even when it was introduced to me, I was like kind of deer in the headlights, like, I don't get this. What do you want me to do? And so it really begins with asking yourself the question, what is my stat on this? So it could be, what is my stat on what I'm wearing? What is my stat on what I'm eating, where I'm going? And hey, what's my stat on the people I'm hanging out with? And 1 being low, 10 being high, and we say it's got to at least be in the range of an 8 to be great. So the question becomes like, if it's a low stat and you can't delegate it or delete it, what do you do to try to raise that stat? And we've had those conversations quite a bit. And so what for example, I discovered like, okay, the bedding on my bed, I'm like, that's like a 1 to me. Why am I living with this bedding? And so it really can be, how can you break it down into the small details? So what do you think about that? Because you're used to it. I mean, it takes practice, really asking yourself that question. I mean, look in your cabinetry. I was looking in my shower going, you know what? My body wash is not a 10 for me. It's like a 6. It's not bad, but I already know which one in the store is a 10. So like, why am I not buying that? So I'm going today and I'm rocking October with my 10 body wash.
And I think it helps you to prioritize things too. So once you identify like things that you need to maybe change or improve that will ultimately help you to feel better, then like, okay, maybe this weekend I want to reorganize the garage or the cabinets or my office, because ultimately that's going to make me feel better and have more 10 moments in the week following.
Well, what I love about the stat tool is, number one, we're all about energy management. So you don't have to have a lot of dialogue about it. You can walk into your closet and simply say, okay, anything that isn't a 10 or at least an 8, I'm getting rid of, or I'm going to put in a bag, because maybe you're not ready to get rid of it, but you're going to start to separate those things out. Maybe you walk into a particular room in your house and you're like, okay, this is like a 4. How could I elevate that to a 10? Maybe it's painting one wall. Maybe it's getting a piece of art. Maybe it's a pillow. Maybe it's a candle. I mean, just asking yourself the question really helps to make you aware of how you're truly living your life. And when you break it down into the little tiny details, it's amazing how quickly you can elevate the way you feel and the way you view yourself and the world around you.
So Jane, what's the challenge of the week?
So the challenge is, first, start asking yourself the question, right? You've got to practice being aware. And then what I'd love to see everyone do is 10 days, 10 days. So wake up in the morning, ask yourself, how do I make today a 10? So look at it from your work environment, look at it from your personal environment, and just ask yourself the question, how can I be raising my stat all day to have a 10 day? And try that for 10 days.
Awesome. Well, that sounds like an awesome challenge for each and every one of us. And I think that's only going to help us to live our best lives. So Jane, appreciate you being here to talk us through what ROCKtober needs to look like, and look forward to hopefully hearing a lot of great success stories and about all these 10 moments each of you will have over the next couple of days. So Jane,
I know, wouldn't it be cool if people shared them too? That would be awesome. So give us some feedback on how you rocked October.
Jane, thanks again.
Thanks.